Hello everyone, my name is Orwa Joseph and I welcome you to our today's session. Together with me is our moderator Evans Rabare, who will be helping us in the moderation docs to make sure that we get the very best out of this particular session. So I invite you, everyone, from where you are. I did mention that I'm Orwa Joseph, a trainer with Africa 118 for Google Digital Skills Program. So wherever you are, I want to thank you so much for joining us this particular morning so that we may have a discussion where we are going to discuss how to stay productive online. So feel free to share with us where you are joining us from and some of your expectation for today's session. And in our today's agenda, we will be discussing how to staying productive online. The main topic of discussion has been split into three segments. So in our first agenda, we will be looking at how you can set up your remote office. The second agenda will be looking at how you can build a productive work environment. And lastly, how to manage and maintain your well-being. So take a few minutes of yourself, familiarize yourselves with the chat box functionality, which we'll be using during today's session to be able to get some of your questions and your reactions, even as we put this particular session much interactive as we learn from each other. Even as we move on, I want us to understand from your end, how has COVID-19 impacted your role? How has COVID-19 impacted your role? So feel free to share with us at the chat box some of your views on how COVID-19 has impacted your role as a person. We believe that before COVID-19, you had a role you were playing in the society or in the community. And with the coming of COVID-19, in one way or another, this pandemic has impacted your role. Feel free to share with us your thoughts and your view on how COVID-19 has impacted your role. Great. So even as we are waiting for you to share your thoughts, let's move into our first agenda, where we are going to discuss how to set up your remote office. How to set up your remote office. Good. Now, remote work is a working style that allows professionals to work outside of traditional office environment. It is based on the concept that work does not need to be done in a specific place to be executed successfully. While having ability to work from outside of a corporate office has been feasible for few decades, working remotely is now becoming a mainstream. Think of it in this way. Instead of commuting to an office each day to work from designated desk, you can execute your work and achieve your goals wherever you are. Remote working allows you the flexibility to design your day so that your professional and personal life can be experienced to the fullest and coexist peacefully. So remote work is the kind of work now that gives you the ability as a person to design your day and just ensure you work at the particular hours of the day that you are much productive, and any other day that you are less productive, you can use those hours to actually achieve something else. So there has been a culture paradigm shift in what society deems to be appropriate workplace, and the remote work has capitalized off of the newfound freedom. So let's move on and look at where people can work remotely. So working remotely doesn't mean you only work at home. There are a lot of places you can work from. Once lockdown is lifted, of course, because I believe other people are still having lockdowns, but in the most part of the world, there's some ease and people can have some time to get out of their homes and work be able to go to some places and meet people and maybe uh, be able to work in an office setup. So there are a lot of places you can work from. And for some self-employed people, a home office is the best solution. That doesn't mean you have to fill a corner of your living room with a clunky desk and monitor. You can fit your office wherever it fits in your life. Working at home cuts off the commute time, costs less, and gives you the flexibility with your home life. So working from home is one of the options and places you can choose to work as you work remotely. Again, the next place could be coffee shops. So working in public places like coffee shops, caves, bars, and restaurants often boost productivity. Life can be a pretty boring sitting at home, working away on your own. Humans are social animals, and interaction with others is important for our mental health. If you don't just work from home, but also live alone too, then your contact with other people may be limited. So working in caves gives you a chance for you to at least have a smile from someone else, and even maybe have a chat with someone that might come across your desk from where you are working from. For coffee shops and restaurants, comes in handy and a good place for people to be able to work remotely. The places also could include co-working spaces. Co-working spaces are a great option for freelancers and remote workers, but the fee for a dedicated desk can run hundreds per month. Beware of cost around this. So we always have other places that have been designed for co-working spaces. They look public and any other person can come in, get a desk, sit and work from there. But on that particular spaces, there is always monthly charges. And that's why before even you pick one to work from, you need to consider the monthly payments so that you don't find yourself spending too much on just working space. Great. So another place that you can work from also, the library. If you don't need to make phone calls, libraries are a great place to get work done. They're often free. Maybe have a Wi-Fi fitted installation so you have internet connection. There are always a lot of tables available for you. But whether you choose to, whatever place you choose to work, one thing remains key, and that is ensuring you are equipped with tools you need to work effectively. So, what do you need to work remotely? What exactly do you need to work remotely as a person? Feel free to share with us your thoughts and view at the chat box, and we will have a time to look at them to be able to also learn from you. We have Christopher Sakwa joining from Laini Saba. Thank you so much, Christopher Sakwa, to have you in the session this morning. It is good to have you. So, how is Laini Saba? How is the weather like there? And also, you can feel free to share this link with your colleagues so that we can come and learn together. Great. So, what do you need to work remotely? There are a few key elements you will need to work remotely. As mentioned previously, you'll need a workspace to work from. If you're working from home, put some thoughts into creating a working environment that is suitable for the type of work you do. Right? So be respectful of the spaces, especially if it is a shared space. Just because you're not working at an office doesn't mean you can't have an office. Rather than working in your room or a coach space that are associated with leisure time, Dedicate a specific room or surface in your home to work from. So apart from a dedicated workspace to work remotely, another thing that you need is devices. This is the technology you will need to do your work. For example, you'll need a laptop if you're working on types of document and spreadsheets. You also need a phone if you are to take some phone calls. So you need also to consider devices or the technology behind your work. These are what will enable you actually achieve the work you're doing. And the next thing is the internet connection. Work today is increasingly collaborative. You may rely on internet connection to send and receive files, work on live files, communicate with your team. For this reason, the internet connection is crucial to your remote working toolkit. In sub-Saharan Africa, internet connection can be poor, so people often have up to 5 connections as options for them to pick from while they just work when working from home. So let's look at this in a bit more details. Creating your own workspace. The living room or in bed might not be the best place to work if you want to be productive. That's why creating your own workspace at home is very important as it will help you concentrate. Pick a place inside your home environment where you feel most productive. Although most people talk of working from the couch comfortable, you realize that it isn't effective as you are taught. Consider setting aside a table and a chair in a room with minimal distractions. Simple desk and a comfortable chair in one corner of your room or probably balcony will work just fine. The workspace doesn't need to be out of this world. If possible, create ergonomical, comfortable workspace. By this we mean a space where you can create comfortable sitting position. Choose the type of chair with a back support. Make sure you have comfortable head position when deciding on the position or for a place for your laptop or monitor. Next up, the equipment that you will need. Good. So the physical equipment that you might need include your phone. So depending on the sort of work you're doing, you might need a phone to make calls, communicate with teammates and chat, etc. The other item that you might need also is a computer. For working on multiple documents, video calls and conferences, most laptops, by the way, come with webcams, but they tend to angle up the user's nostril, so meaning an external camera if you are will be a best option for you, especially if you are the spokesperson in that particular event. And the next thing you'll need is a notebook. Keep a notebook handy to jot down your thoughts, things to do, ideas that come in, and be able to reorganize things that comes in and things that have been done, so that you get to know where did you start and where are you likely to end. That one will help you keep organized. Right? So let's move over and look at another item, the source of power. So finding a stable a power supply for working may be one of the major challenges you will face as a freelancer. To be productive, you have to get stable power to charge your devices. This could include your laptop and mobile phones. One way you can surmount this challenge is getting generating set. You probably have one. You can also try solar-powered devices, inverters, among others. Working remotely likely means incurring additional cost of powering generators or purchasing inverters. Working on the go remotely in other locations with Wi-Fi such as caves or library are also a great option. Take your laptop to a place where you can get power while you work. So let's also look at another source which we mentioned, sufficient internet connections. While the cost of data has cheapened in recent times, the speed of internet connection hasn't improved much. So slow internet connection means you can't do much online. Web pages will take forever to load. This will cause frustration and greatly affect your productivity. To be productive, you have to get decent internet connection. This might mean moving from a laptop tethering to investing in broadband or fiber to home internet services. Don't be that person who didn't finish an important task because of slow internet. Then choose the right ISP. The first step is to choose the right internet service provider. Depending on where you live, there will be multiple ISP to choose from. If your data connection is unreliable, working remotely will be an advantage. You can work and change location in search for better and improved network connections. Next thing that you need to consider, the right router. Choosing the right kind of router is important as keeping it as close to you as possible. So a router is that particular device that, or you will find that the cable from the ISP terminates at. So that router is the one that will be providing you with internet connection and probably a Wi-Fi connection. So make sure that you position it in an open place from accessible from where you will be working from. Let not put it in a room that is blocked because the walls might reduce the strength of the wireless signals, and you could be having internet connection within that particular room, but a weaker connection at the place where you are working from. Then always when using your internet, ensure that you have plugins. Okay. You can be having running a network cable from the router to the home office location is ideal. What do we mean by plugin to Wi-Fi? This means that you can get an extension of your internet connection from your office to your workplace, also from your office to your remote work desk, and that one will be a great deal. Always you can use, have a tendency of testing your internet speeds to make sure that you have sufficient internet connection that will enable you to work comfortably. So to be able to test this, you can always visit fast.com or Google internet speed to test and compare internet speeds across ISPs. This will help you ensure your internet speed is fast and will not affect your workflow. Remember, if you have a connection that is less than 5 Mbps, then you might not be able to do much. So now we know what equipment we need. Let's look at some of the challenges that we will need to overcome when we decide to work remotely. So from your end, feel free to share with us some of the challenges you think comes with working remotely. So what are some of the challenges that do come with working remotely? Great people. So keep your thoughts coming. I see Anna coming in. Thanks, Anne, for coming. It's a nice time to have you this morning, even as we share. Okay, Anne is asking if I am to choose solar or generator, which one would be your advice? So we have solar and we have generator. Great, thanks Anne for that particular question. Ideally, this depends with your budget and your long-term plan. Having choosing solar option, you might find that maybe the installation fee is too high, but it will come relatively cheap if you are to work on a long-term project. While generators might be not much expensive, but again, you'll find yourself spending much on fuel. But this one also depends with how frequently will you be using the generator, or the generator will only be as a backup. So it will be depend with you as a person and to make sure that you compare the prices against your overall goal, and a plan that you have as a person, whether you want to work remotely for life. It could be better if you have the solar being installed. And again, it also will depend with where you are coming from. You could rely on solar energy, and maybe in the place that you stay, there is not always there isn't enough sunshine, and that is means maybe you will be having unstable supply of power from the solars. So it will depend with your location where you are, consider your budget and the general goal for the purpose of you starting or working remotely. I believe that one helps you. And Christoph Sake said, how work homework husumbua na watu kwa hao. Very true. Thanks for sharing that one, Christopher Sakwa. Christopher is mentioning that working from home, there is always distraction from people that comes from home. So keep your thoughts coming. Now, Christopher, if that one is the challenge, how do you think we can overcome this? So keep your thoughts coming up and let's learn together. So as we are moving, let's look at some of the challenges that do come with working remotely. One of the challenges is loneliness. Loneliness is one of the major drawbacks of remote work, especially for extroverts. If you used to go to the office and you are used to the office chats, you might find working remotely or working from home a bit lonely. However, if you think working alone affects your productivity, you can go to restaurant or eatery to get your work done. Another thing is self-discipline. You need dedication, discipline, and self-control to avoid losing momentum while working from home. Don't convince yourself that a single YouTube video during your work hours won't do you any harm. Before you know it, you'll have spent hours on it. Another challenge that comes with this is no employee benefits. You won't have employee benefits like health insurance or retirement funds. Although work at home opportunities in some countries provide medical coverage, the same can't be said when working online or working for company XYZ. Next challenge that always comes is difficult to switch off. When you are working in your office, you are mostly conscious of the closing time. That is not always the case when you work remotely. When working remotely, the lines between work and home life are blurred since you are working from your dining room. You might not find it easy to disengage yourself from work. Another challenge that's come with this is fear of missing out. Working remotely could make you feel left out occasionally when you miss out on important announcements, meetings, and events in your office. You'll most likely be the first person to hear in your office about maybe an upcoming event and or an important announcement that is to be made. However, with software like Slack, you can keep updated while working remotely on the things that are going on within your office. Although these challenges may seem large initially, with time and some getting used to it, we can master and overcome these challenges. So, having looked at working home and the challenges that comes with it, let's now look at some of the benefits that comes with working remotely. So, feel free to share with us at the chat box what are your thoughts around the benefit that comes with working remotely. Keep your thoughts, keep your comments coming, and I will be able to look at them and we share with one another on your thoughts on what do you think are some of the benefits of working remotely. Feel free to share with us the chat box Let us understand your thoughts around what are some benefits of you working remotely. Great. All right, so I can see no questions coming up. Please keep your thoughts coming. And Christopher, what do you think are some of the benefits of working remotely? What do you think are some of the benefits of working remotely? So let's have a look at some examples. So remote working comes with lots of benefits for workers. The first case is flexibility. Sometimes there are things you just need to be at home for, whether it's waiting for a repair service or a parcel. Working from home allows you the flexibility to deal with the unexpected events. On top of that, there are the everyday tasks you can fit in around your work, like doing laundry or receiving online grocery deliveries. And therefore, working from home gives you the flexibility of planning yourself, have enough time to deliver what you should do, and also have some extra time for you to be able to do some house chores. And another thing that comes with working remotely as a benefit is no commuting. Commuting takes time out of your day that you will never get back. And that is before you take into account how long it takes to get ready in the morning. When you work from home, you can be at your desk or the kitchen table and ready to work within a few minutes of waking up. So actually you don't need enough of your time and spend much of your time preparing to commute, preparing to report to the office. That one, if you work remotely, then there's some spare time that you'll be saving. And this particular time can be spent in doing some other tasks that are good for your life. Then another benefit that comes with it is more time with the family. Just as mentioned that they will be saving some time that you will be consuming in commuting and preparing yourself to report to the office, you'll be having some good time with the family and be able to create a strong bond with them. So working remotely have so many benefits that comes with it if we actually have a mentality of adopting it and embracing it. Another thing is less distractions. I know we had mentioned that working from home, as an example, or working remotely, there is always distraction from members of the family. But again, working remotely can be less destructive. With some willpower and a steady routine, you will soon learn to avoid being distracted by TV on your next load of laundry or any other thing. In fact, you should find yourself getting more done when you work remotely. That's because you can control your working situation much more. You don't have to worry about co-workers stopping by just to ask a quick question or to socialize. And remember, um, sometimes we go to work, and if you are football fans, and there's some teams that played, mm-mm, and that office could be noisy in the first few hours of the day. Let it be if Manchester played with Arsenal. Mm, we could have quite much distraction from the beginning of the day, which you can avoid while working remotely. And then we have high morale. Remote employees are notably less stressed and have high morale than their in-office counterparts. Happier elder employees produce better work and feel more committed to their companies. From this perspective, remote work is good for business. So let's take a look at some of the benefits that is brought by working remotely to the wider business. Right? Benefits. of remote working for business. The first one, the reduced overhead cost. The cost of securing office space is high, especially in major cities like Nairobi, Mombasa, Lagos, Dar es Salaam, among others. For many startups, paying high rent places are a heavy burden on their budget, forcing them to make maybe cuts to vital areas of their businesses. This not only saves rent, it also saves on utilities and resources. Utilities and resources, these ones include maybe water supply to the office, electricity to the office, and even other essentials that always cost that have been some savings done around that those particular items. So we have reduced overhead costs. Secondly, it is a result of greater productivity. So with working remotely, a business can engage highly engaged workforce to work on their particular project. And this one leads to greater productivity for that particular business. And again, another benefit that comes with it is access to wider pool of talents. So by allowing employees to work remotely, employers can hire the best talents while not limiting themselves by geographical restrictions. Benin-based company can hire workers in Jos and start up in Southeast and have employees that work remotely from Nairobi, Kenya, and also have some people who are skilled in an area from Mombasa. And then you have work done without like being limited by location. While working from an office will force these people to physically come into the office. So with working remotely, you can get access to a wider pool of talents, and with the power of internet connection, on internet connectivity, you will not be limited to geographical location. And lastly, there is improved employee retention. According to research, you'll find that people who work remotely, as mentioned, they are always happier, they're excited. These people tend to be committed to their company, and most of the time, you'll find them working for that particular company for a longer time. I remember sometimes back when I was an intern, and uh, the issue of working remotely was like a point of discussion, and it was a challenge. You cannot work remotely because there are some resources that can only be accessed within the company network. So the organization decided that, okay, let's extend the internet connectivity of office for all our workers. If you are an employee, then you need to have an internet connectivity to your place, and you will not need to pay for it, so that when you decide to work remotely, you can be able to access the company resources. But that one also never worked well because the internet connection for that particular organization I was an intern in could not be supplied to all the places of where the employees used to reside. So they they improved the services by introducing a technology that will allow you access the office resources from any other network. So that one also improved the productivity of people, and that it made people to be excited. People could wake up in the morning and avoid the morning traffic, and start working from home, and only report in the office later in the day, and having done so much while still at home. So people were excited, and this one, nobody was like speaking of resigning. They were better committed to that particular organization. So I want to pause now for some few questions before we get into how we can build a productive work environment. So if you have any question, please put it across and we will be having a look at it. Brian, Jen Lodob is saying hakuna stress ya kupana na those or annoying bosses. Okay, Jen is mentioning that if you work remotely, then you don't have the stress of meeting the annoying bosses. Yeah, that's very true. So working remotely, it will also suggest that if there is somebody that you are not comfortable meeting, then great, you will not be able to physically meet them. Maybe you'll be meeting them virtually through some tools that you can use to connect with them. Thanks, Jen, for sharing your thoughts. So let's move on with our discussion and see how we can build a productive work environment. Great. So the quality of your workspace is vital, quite vital. Like it's directly proportional to your productivity. Put some thoughts into the workspace. There are some tips to create a working space that promotes wellness and productivity, including the use of natural light and desk position. You will need to consider the space for your various tasks and how to arrange your home office layout effectively. Create an area of your home to work. It can be a countertop in the kitchen where your laptop is, a corner in the den with a desk, or the old room in your house. If your workspace is a shared space, consider creating screen to add separations. So you need actually to try always to consider getting a good place to work from. If you don't, then you might find yourself not able to perform your tasks and deliver on your mandate. There will be a lot of distraction, and you might not do much. And again, you need to find the right chair for you. Find a chair within your own home, or you can purchase one, a chair that let you sit comfortably, a chair that will not make you strain, a chair that you can allow you to sit down and work for a longer time without having to struggle in positioning your head or positioning your body as you work. So invest in a good chair that fits you and you feel good in it. If your budget doesn't afford it, you can take a look at the chairs available at your home space and get one that actually will assist you while working remotely. If there is not one, you might need maybe to spend some money to buy a good chair because it will also take care of your health, your backache. You will not be able to stoop for a while, and this one will allow you work for a long time and still remain healthy. And then you can develop a filing system to keep you organized. Working from home sometimes could render your working space messy, especially when you are working on a shared space where people place their things, your files are there, somebody comes, they're looking for something, they need to push your files, maybe take your files, move them to another side. It could be messy, so you need to reorganize yourself and find a filing system that, okay, working with this will make sure that you know which files have been worked on, which ones I need to attend to, among others. So it is important to ensure your personal environment is one of which helps you work effectively. According to a research study, the effect of work environment on productivity. Workspace distraction cut employee productivity by 40% and increases errors by 27%. So how can you minimize distractions? Feel free to share that at the chat box, some of the ways in which we can use to minimize distractions. Great. So it can be challenging to avoid distractions at work, and that may become more so in your home environment. Sometimes focusing on the work right in front of you can be a challenge, even more so if it is something you hope you didn't need to do. Here are some few tips that can help you avoid getting distracted. Let others know your work hours. If your family at home or neighbors or friends, let them know your work hours. That way, they can speak to you at the time which suits both of your needs. This will allow them avoid interrupting you unless something is quite much urgent. So let others know your working hours. Secondly, do one thing at a time. Make sure you have in line of what you are doing, and you'll be doing this followed by that one and go to the other one. So if you arrange and organize yourself on the things to do, will keep you on track to be able to remember that I'm still working on this until I finish, then I can move to the next. Another thing, avoid TV and household distractions. As mentioned, you can take a look at maybe a program and say you are just having a look at it, and only to find that you have watched the whole program and forgotten maybe to work on something that you want to deliver. So avoid TV and household distractions. Another thing, put away all pets. While we love our field friends, they will only distract you. Save the animal love for work hours. So if you work and your pet is just around you looking at you, but find yourself distracted and you start introducing maybe some games and play around with the pet. Next, you need to take regular breaks. There is only so much our brains can handle before it starts falling and causing greater distractions. Get up from your table, go for a short walk, and grab a coffee. You'll find that when you go back to your work, it will be lot of easier to avoid distractions. So, minimize your distraction will help you optimize your productivity when working remotely. So, how can you improve productivity within teams? If you are working with teams and you are working remotely, how can you improve productivity within teams? Remote team members need to be able to plan and collaborate on commitments, deliverables, and tasks. They also need to track the flow of work from start to finish, establish vision and deliverables, establish logistics for teams communication, promote visibility and transparency, all work, track the quality and the status of that particular project, and address bottlenecks. So actually, you need to find a way in which if you're working remotely, then every team member has the knowledge of the tools that are going to be used. They know exactly what each should be doing, and also there is a way to track the quality of that particular task so that people are put into each one member of the team is put into a task to ensure that they give their best and give quality results. Next up, let's look at communication. 70% of workspace mistakes are due to poor communication. Communication plays a fundamental role in our daily lives. For some, good communication comes naturally, but for others, it becomes hard to articulate their thoughts and feelings in a conversation, often leading to conflict and fundamental errors. Whether you are an effective communicator or not, it is essential to understand the importance of good communication and how it can help you move forward in the work world. So let's look at general communications. So it is important to communicate effectively when working in general, but dispersed teams can, if teams are dispersed, they're working away from each other. It can be so much important for you to have a way in which people will be able to communicate. So there are different communication tools that can work more effectively than others to communicate with teams depending on the purpose of that particular task at hand. Emails particularly are useful for business communication. Group mails allows you to send single mail to a large number of recipients, unlike instant messages or instant chats, which are they're good for you to send instant messages to your client, to your team members, and just to maybe put a quick notification or call to action. So messaging platform can facilitate many of the daily functions of physical workspace or an internal email thread would normally perform. There are lots of chat-based platforms outside there that allows you to communicate more effectively with your team. So we have Google Meet, HubSpot, we have Slack, we have Gmail. So it will depend with what exactly you want to communicate, then be able to pick a tool for you to be able to use. Remember that particular statistics, 70% of errors that emerge from a work environment comes from poor communication. So, but what rules can we create to communicate more effectively? What rules can we create to communicate more effectively? So there are, to be able to communicate effectively, we need to come up with rules. So therefore, creating rules for you to follow becomes in handy so that each and every person or a team member knows exactly what to communicate and when to communicate and how to communicate this, and be able to know which exactly tool will I be using for communication so that each and every person is able to receive whatever communication I have. So in order to communicate effectively, you'll need to set rules. Communicate clearly, think about the type of messages and the context of the message, respond promptly to the messages, and set a role model to the guidelines that you actually put across. Great. So let us look at some of the tools that are available that can facilitate communication in our work environment. So let's look at video meetings and calls. Which tools are there for us to use? So as we mentioned, it is important to communicate effectively when working in general, but this team can have challenges in communication. So there are tools that can assist you communicate effectively. So video meetings and calls enable teams to communicate and collaborate in real time. So they can connect with teams working remotely, improve level of work communication, and boost collaborations. So let's look at these video conferencing tools into more details. First one, Meet. Keep your team connected with enterprise-grade video conferencing built on Google's robust and secure global infrastructure. So Meet is included with the G Suite and G Suite for Education. So take advantage of the same secure by design infrastructure, building protection and global network that Google uses to secure your information and safeguard your policy. So Meet is another tool that you always can use as team members to be able to communicate and be able to share and collaborate. Right? It has features. You can record your meetings with the enterprise graded ones. You can share screens if there is presentations, and there's a lot more you can use with Meet. Have you ever interacted with Google Meet? If yes, please feel free to share with us some of your experiences with it. Up next is Zoom. Zoom is an application that can be downloaded either on your computer or mobile device. You can request a demo and even download it for free. Zoom is free in the first 45 minutes, so you can use Zoom to host or join meetings for online classes through the app or by accepting an email invitation. So Zoom is just another tool for you to consider while working remotely and be able to collaborate and effectively manage your team and have meetings if you are working remotely and in a team setup. So the next other tool that existed, guess which one? This is Microsoft Teams. So with Microsoft Teams, you can create teams and channels to organize your departments, separate groups, and enable teams to work more effectively. Utilize the chat and video call functions to boost communication. There are a lot of GIFs and emojis to use. Share documents and collaborative with ease. Use @, function to tag and notify team members. Microsoft Teams is included in your Microsoft 365 package, so you can add it. Let's just look at another tool, and this is Skype. I believe majority of us have used Skype. So with Skype, you can use video chat app. You will have access to various features that you can use as a person or as a team to be able to work collaboratively. There is immense full screen video. You can send chat or invite to anyone. And also you can blur your background if you're using it and your background is not that friendly. So Skype is also another tool that you can use as you work with teams remotely. Great. And then let's look on how you can run effective meetings. So in order for you to run effective meetings, be it virtual or any other, but here we are referring to virtual meetings because we are talking about working remotely. You need to set agendas. This one will help you frame your discussion and avoid you diverging into other issues which was not in the agenda. So consider setting up agenda. Then consider your tone and voice. In working remotely, people can't see your body language and easily, so your voice is all they have to go by. So consider your tone and the tone of your voice. Also, encourage participants to use cameras. It is important to connect with each other, make things more personal, and boost nonverbal communications. And lastly, be timely. Don't leave people waiting on the call. Be punctual as you would for an in-person meeting. Having shared that, let's look at video conferencing etiquette. Few have given much thoughts to how they should behave in the new reality of work, especially working remotely. Employees are still technically at work, so would be wearing sweatpants and t-shirts be acceptable as a question? As we permitted to let ourselves go as we believe we likely won't see anyone today, there are issues to consider while you are working remotely. Please prepare yourself, dress appropriately, so that when there is a call for you to be able to put on your camera. Now you don't find yourself in a tricky condition and say, okay, I can't put on my camera because of one thing. So you need to just dress appropriately, and then consider your lighting. If you can be in a place where there is natural light, that one will be better. And then consider your audio. Make sure that you are audible enough for people not to struggle to hear you. Otherwise, if you're in a meeting and somebody's speaking and they can't hear you, they switch off. They consider themselves having wasted time coming to that particular meeting. Great. So let's look at top tips for collaborating effectively. For you to be able to collaborate with your team effectively, equip your team with the right tools, make project management easier, make document sharing a breeze, encourage collaboration between departments, and prioritize company culture. This one will help you collaborate effectively. Ensure that the team has the right tool. And the project management is easier. Like, what should one person do, the other do, what should the other person do? So let that process be easy and people could understand it. And having discussed that, let's look at the final top tips for productivity. So it is this time of coronavirus pandemic, remote work or working remote from home has moved from being a peg to a policy. How productive you are doing this period of social distancing could get a precedence in making a case for or against working home in the future. So, for you to remain productive while you work remotely, please over communicate. Always over communicate. Communicate with your team regularly and keep them in the loop. Ensure that each and every person knows what to do at what time. Secondly, be disciplined. Don't fall into temptation. Remote work is not vocational or paid leave. So be disciplined to your program, attend to your task, and deliver your mandate. Another thing, have your tools ready. For most people that can work and would be working remotely, there's a lifeblood of their productivity is power and internet. So make sure that you have what you need to work remotely. Secondly, find your boost and use it. Ensure that you understand what boosts your morale and what gets you motivated and use it. If it is a playlist, energy drink, or snacking, whichever. So find your booster and use it. And lastly, depending on your employment situation, you may be have to be flexible working hours. So with working remotely, you find that you need to not have a fixed working hours, but you can set a flexible hours. Some people working too early in the morning, they're most productive during the day, and other people are productive during the night. Doesn't matter. So long as you get the best time that is good for you, then you can be able to execute your roles. Great. So I want to take a look if you have any questions coming across video call platforms the best. Okay. Thanks, Jen Lugobe, for sharing your thoughts about video conferencing. Yeah, it's the best. When you use it, then you're able to see people, and then you are sure that they are participating and they take that particular meeting important. So keep your thoughts coming and your questions coming, even as we are going to look at the last junta, managing and maintaining your well-being. Why is it important to manage your well-being? Why is it important? This is very important because of the following reason. It improves your overall health. So if you are healthy and fitter, then you will be able to perform more. So it is important to manage your well-being because it impacts on your overall health and also impacts on your productivity. So you need to ensure that you are aware of your health. You are aware, you listen to your body functionalities. While working from home, if you feel tired, obey the stimuli. Obey the stimuli of being tired, address it, and then come back to work. I know sometimes working remotely could mean doing more and you have more time, but ensure that you maintain your health, and you are always fit to work. Then your well-being also lead to greater productivity. If you are not well, then you will find yourself doing less as compared to what you should do during a day. And then your well-being increases your resilience. So you need to actually overcome obstacles or overcome challenges that comes with working remotely. When your being is well, you are healthy, you are good. When challenges come, then you can face them. Otherwise, you'll find yourself maybe procrastinating some issues because you don't feel like doing them. And also, this boosts your morale and level of happiness. So ensure that it is important to manage your well-being, because if you don't do this, you will find yourself unproductive. You'll find yourself that your overall health is in trouble. You cannot perform some functions, and then even your morale will be down. So now that we know it, why it's important to manage our well-being, what can you do to actually do that? What can you do exactly to manage your well-being? So let's take a look at some of the things that you can do to manage your well-being. One of the reasons many managers don't approve of remote work is the fear of employees will slack off without that physical in-person oversight. But in fact, the opposite tends to be the reality. Remote work can result in overworking. When, when your personal life and your work are both under the same roof, it is harder to switch off. So make sure you to allow yourself take breaks through the day. Be clear with your team on when you are leaving, for example, by making a quick announcement in Slack, and when actually shut down your computer. So ensure that the team members know that you are not, maybe you are taking a break, so that nobody expects you to answer call by then, or maybe engage you at that particular time. Turn off notification on your phone and computer so you are not pulled back into work after hours. Exactly immediately, maybe after you have switched off your machine and you are relaxing, you need to turn off notifications so that you are not you are able to actually have a real break. If it is a break, let it be a real break. All right. And then set appointments on your calendar for the end of the day to set you out on your home office. Make sure that you can set up your calendars to ensure that this is what I will be doing next. All right. So these are some of the things that you can do to ensure that you maintain your well-being. To ensure that you maintain your well-being. So, another thing that you need to understand, you need to be ready for the culture shift. Beyond the barrier of power supply and internet access for employees, traditional companies will also have to advise aspects of their established work and organizational culture to embrace remote work. Traditional companies often appear bogged down by concern about productivity lags. So you should choose to trust that the performance metrics we have put in place will trump the interferences, yeah, and be able to make you be productive. They think how they see work, because sitting down for hours straight doesn't meaning that you are actually working. So you can be in office sitting there for hours. It doesn't always mean that you are doing something. So it is all well a good idea for you to find a good time to be able to be ready as a person. If you are an employer or an employee, be ready for the culture shift in which people will have to work remotely and maintain their, be able to organize their day and be able to deliver still on their mandate and their roles, and not be able to be fixed on that you need to work between this particular time and this particular time. If you don't do it by then you have not worked. Yeah, so you need to be ready for the culture shift. And lastly, managing your overall well-being. This is very important for us. Encourage exercise within your teams. This way will make them remain active and productive. Take mental health as serious as physical health. If you feel that your mind cannot digest things, please know that is not well. So make sure that you give rest to your to your brain to digest and energize and rejuvenate. So again, you can hold regular performance check-ins just to ensure that you are okay. Encourage workers to separate work and private life and organize in-person social meetups. Great. So I want to pause for a while to get some questions from us if there is any. Coming late today, sir. Krishna Ades, thank you for coming. It's nice to have you. Eat well and to be healthy. Great, Krishna. You have come late and you have come with a comment. You need to eat well to be healthy. It's great. Good. You need actually to eat well so that you are able to work. Food is good. Yes, food is nice. Food is good. Thank you guys for those particular comments that have come in. If there's no any other question to address, my question to us is, what exactly are your next steps? Today was just the beginning, but what are you going to do next after this particular session? Are you the person that is going to try and set up their office, make sure that they have a good working environment? Are you going maybe to start working remotely and consider the things you need to work remotely so that you remain productive? Yes, that are some of the things you'll do. Please list them down and pick exactly which one are you going to do first. So today was only the beginning for you. You can always learn online on the link that my moderator has shared so that you get more insight and be able to get more skills on staying productive online as a person. You can always also follow us on our social media. We do always have a lot of webinars and event posted on our social media. So if you follow us on social media, you will get connected because we are social. That's where we communicate and share some of the resources that we have. And again, our moderator is going to share with you some feedback form. please feel free to get back to us. Let us know what is working out, what is the challenge, and what exactly you want to hear from us next. And again, for having attended this particular session, we'll be giving you a certificate of attendance just to appreciate you coming to learn together with us. So without much ado, I want to appreciate you and thank you so much for joining us. We'll be coming next at 8:30 with another session where we're going to learn together. But for now, I want to give you a break. I was your lead trainer, Orwa Joseph, from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, together with our greater moderator, Evans Rabare, joining us from Ethiopia, the land that was never colonized. For now, I just want to say thank you. Let's meet then. Before you go, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel that you get notification every time we come live with digital skills content. See you then.